Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the Club Icons pack today. It's a nominating contract pack. I'm also going to look at the two match pass players as well. So we've got 10 players to look at in total. I will be uploading a review of the Japanese and Brazilian league packs as well. Those are two more nominating contract packs. There's a mix of 3, 4, and 5-star players in those. So I'll be uploading that over the next few days. So keep your eye out for that. There will be timestamps in the description for this video. But as always, if there's a particular player you want to hear about, click the description and there'll be a link to take you straight to him. So let's have a look at who we got. As always, starting with the lowest rated. So we've got Adam Smith from Bournemouth. This is our 1 4-star player. The rest are 5s. Looking at the auto allocation, he's an alright fullback, to be honest. He can play right and left. Not brilliant on the ball. Down the left-hand side, the technicals. He's not brilliant on the ball. His crossing will be okay. Look down here, he's not got pinpoint crossing. So not going to have the best crossing. His low pass, especially at 73, that's worrying to me. You don't want to be giving the ball away in defensive areas. Down the middle, his defensives are okay, not brilliant, they're okay. And the pace is pretty decent. Stamina's decent as well. So he's not terrible in any areas. I would like him to be a bit better on the ball. Looking down at his skills before I play around with his training points, worth pointing out, he has one very good skill with blocker, but he is lacking what I think most people would accept as the most important skill for fullback, and that's interception. So if you do get him, you'd probably want to try to get interception on him, but on a 4-star fullback, is that worth it? I think unless you're a Bournemouth fan, then you like using Bournemouth players, it probably won't be. I don't think he's really that valuable of a card to waste skill trainers on him. So skill-wise, only blocker really of any value. Fighting spirit, that's not a bad one, I guess. Gamesmanship, dipping shot, and long range drive. I don't see them coming in handy, to be honest, in a fullback. Interception would be nice, and pinpoint crossing, as I mentioned, would be nice as well if you like your fullbacks to get forward, as I do. 78 is not disastrous and off the path, but without pinpoint crossing, it's not going to be brilliant. And like I say, 73 is bad. So I will just play a little bit with his points. I think I'd probably take a few away from dexterity. Maybe take those aerial away. Let's see what we can do here. So get the passing up a bit. A few on dribbling. I'd probably be tempted to do that, to be honest. At least you get the ball control up to the 80 mark and lofted pass. And then you've not touched his defensives. They're still okay. Pace is still decent. Stamina decent. Yeah. For a 4-star fullback, in terms of his attributes, pretty solid. Not amazing, but pretty solid. You can do worse for a 4-star for sure. But like I say, the skills are probably the biggest concern for me. He's lacking interception. That's the most important one. And it'd be nice if you have pinpoint crossing as well. So it is a 4-star card, but in terms of the skills, especially a bit of a concern, and based on the attributes, he's very much a 4-star. You know, he's not going to get in many people's teams unless realistically you're a Bournemouth fan. So not a particularly bad card, but not a brilliant one either. El Shaarawy from Roma. So pretty tidy, to be honest, El Shaarawy. We're into the 5-star cards now. He's only just a 5-star at 92, but he looks pretty useful. He's obviously very good on the ball. Got pretty good offensive awareness for a wide man. Pace is not amazing, but it's pretty decent. Balance is decent as well. He can play through the middle as an SS. Personally, I don't think his passing is good enough for him to play in that position. I think he's going to be used out wide. And as a right footer, looking down at the skills here, see he's got some dribbly stuff with the dribblers. Soul control is nice, but then he's got long range drive, long range shooting. That's really all he's got in terms of end product. Heel trick and outside curler, they're both nice ones to have. Super sub, very nice one to have. But in terms of end product, as I say, long range drive and long range shooting, his finishing at 74 is not brilliant, but it's okay. I think as a right footer, wide left coming inside with that long range drive, I think that's where you're going to get the most out of him. Like I say, he's got decent pace and he's pretty tidy on the ball. There's not a great deal I think I would do in terms of playing around with his training points. You could maybe take some away from dribbling, still be decent. If you take dribbling down to 8 in the game plan, you should. If you've got a decent manager, you'll still get his dribbling up to the 90 mark with the +2. Then you've got some more points you can put in passing, even if you put them all on. It still only gets to 78 and 80. It's decent, you know. For a wide man, certainly that's decent. But playing through the middle as an SS, I think that's still a little bit on the low side, to be honest. So yeah, it's a pretty tidy card. Just putting back to the auto allocation now. Yeah, it's a tidy card. It's not an amazing one. I think most people's strongest teams, he's not going to be getting in realistically, but certainly with the Italian League Challenge, that's something to keep in mind. He might be a good option for the Italian League Challenge as a wide man who can come on wide left or wide right with that super sub skill. Decent pace, really good on the ball, can finish. Not a bad card. I think certainly Roman fans will be pleased with this one. like with Adam Smith, he's not going to get into many people's teams, but certainly I think he's a pretty useful one, especially with the super sub skill. Then we have Muriel from Atalanta. So first thing I'm going to mention with Muriel, we'll go straight to the skills. He's lacking first time shot. It's the most important skill for a striker, and he's not got it. So that's a big shame. So if you pick this guy up and if you like him and you're going to use him a lot, it will be well worth trying to get first time shot on him, because that does make a difference for a striker. He does have some decent skills though. He's got a bunch of tricks and skills for the dribble merchants. You like dribbling, chip shot control, long range shooting, acrobatic finishing. So he's got some shooting skills there, just lacking the most important one. He's also got through passing, which is a nice one to have in a striker. That's a nice bonus. Super sub, just like Shaarawy, he's got super sub, so that does make him extra useful. Looking at the training points, I mean, he's pretty tidy on the ball for a striker. Awareness and finishing both are right in the middle 80s. Passing is not too bad for a striker, and he's got through passing as well. Pace is okay. I'd like that speed to be a bit higher, but he's got good acceleration. He's got good balance as well. I don't know if I'd do too much to kind of rebalance his attributes, the redistribute the training points. I would maybe take a bit of varial off him. I don't think he really needs that. He's not a big physical guy. I don't think it'll make a huge amount of difference. I think I'd most likely just whack those points straight on his speed, get his speed up a little bit. There's not much else I think I'd do. I think personally that kind of focuses a bit more on what he's good at. He's not going to be great physically regardless, so give him a bit more pace. I think that's worth doing. I think ultimately, much like Shaarawy, he's got the same maximum overall of 92, so he's about the same level. He's a pretty tidy player. I've used his base card. It's pretty nice, to be honest. It's the lack of first time shot that concerns me, but aside from that, without being a particularly great card, it's a pretty tidy one. Like I say, I've used him. He's pretty neat, and having him as a super sub, again, like with Shaarawy, it might be a useful one just to have for the Italian League Challenge as a striker option off the bench as a super sub. So yeah, again, not a brilliant card, but certainly a pretty tidy one. It could be useful. And then we have our goalkeeper, got Anthony Lopes from Lyon. So looking at the auto allocation, there's one thing that I would look at that I'd be concerned about, and that's the reach. He's 184 centimeters, so he's 6 foot tall. That's not particularly tall for a keeper. He's not tiny, but he's certainly not tall. An 81 reach, that would concern me a bit, because when you're facing people who are hitting those kind of long range curlers right into the corner just inside the post, I'll be a little bit uncomfortable with this guy's ability to reach those shots when they're right in the corner. So that's the one concern for me with this guy. But looking at the auto allocation of his attributes, awareness 89, reflexes 86, catching and parrying both in the 80s, that's pretty good. Jumping is good. We know they love to give goalkeepers low jumping when they do these player of the week and player of the month cards, but this is one you can train, and he's already got high jumping. So yeah, I think personally, I would look at maybe just taking that point away from passing. I'll take the 4 off aerial, and he's still got 84 for jumping, or 83, sorry. And then looking down here, I would nick 1 away from goalkeeper awareness, and then I'd probably stick 2 on reflexes, and then you got 2 left, and I'd probably just stick them straight back on aerial, to be honest. I think that's how I would personally train him. Again, keep in mind the game plan boost. You get 2 points with a decent enough manager, so that way his awareness and now reflexes are both in 90, and he's got slightly higher catching and parrying now. Still 81 reach though, but with jumping 84 as well. He's a pretty solid keeper, to be honest. He's not an elite level keeper by any means, but the only real concern is that reach is a bit of a concern. It's not disastrously low, but like I say, his height's not that high, his reach isn't that high, so that's just one thing to be a little bit concerned about. But outside of that, good awareness and reflexes, pretty solid elsewhere. It's a pretty solid goalkeeper, to be honest. If you don't have too many goalkeeper options, it could be one that's worth picking up. So yeah, not a bad card. We have Lewis Dunk. So we've got 2 centre-backs. This is the first of our centre-backs. As you can see on the auto allocation, very strong with his defensive attributes down the middle there. So he's 90 plus all the way down there. He's got pretty nice passing for a centre-back as well. There are 2 areas of concern though. He is physically strong, but his jumping is only 76, and his speed and acceleration both below 70. So he's lacking pace and he's lacking jumping. He is 6'3", so he's got a decent height on him. Looking down at the skills, he does have aerial superiority and heading, so I don't think it'll be bad in the air. I just don't think it'll be particularly good. It's just that mobility, like with the lack of pace, the jumping being a bit on the low side. You just might get found out if your opponent's got a striker who's very good in the air. You know, a big guy like maybe a Haaland or maybe a Naziri, something like that. Could be an issue. He's got man marking. He's got blocker. He's lacking interception. Like with Alan Smith, that's one of the most important skills for a centre-back, arguably the most important one. He's lacking it. So, again, if you get this guy and you plan to use him a lot, it will be well worth trying to get interception on him. He is also lacking acrobatic clearance, sliding tackle, a couple of nice skills to have. They're not as important as interception, though. The main issue is interception, which is missing. So that's the big concern for me skill-wise. In terms of his training points, how they're allocated, personally, I'll take a couple away from defensives, his defensive attributes, because we've got to try and find a bit more pace and maybe jumping. Not a lot we can do here. We free up a few points from defending, put him on pace. He's still only 72 for speed. Can we get his jumping up a little bit? I'm not so sure. We'd have to take a couple of dexterity. Don't really want to do that, but that's probably just about all we can do. Ideally, it would be nice to get his jumping up to the 80 mark, even if it was only with the game plan boost. I wonder if we just do that and take another dexterity. Yeah, if you really wanted to try and give him a bit more jumping and pace, that way, obviously his acceleration is a bit low, his bounce as well, both below 60. They'll both hit the 60 mark in the game plan with a boost. Speed over 70 now. Stamina's pretty good at 83 for centre-back. That jumping at 78 will now hit 80 in the game plan with the boost, so a bit better now, and those defensives will still hit the 90 mark when they're boosted, and obviously physical contact's fantastic. So he does have qualities. You know, he's strong with his core defensive attributes. He's got pretty good passing for a centre-back. Physically very strong, which is important. It's just the speed and the jumping that are a bit of a concern. And obviously the big concern is he's lacking the interception skill. So if you are going to sign him, you're going to want to try and put interception on him. And just keep in mind with the lack of pace and the jumping, there are a couple of slight concerns there as well with the attributes. But yeah, on the whole, some pluses and some downsides to him, but on the whole, he's a pretty decent card. Just keep in mind those negatives. Now this is a good one. So when I saw this pack, this is the first player I looked at and I thought, yes, I'm getting this guy. I've been using this guy for years. I've had him in Master League, I've had him in my club, and I've tried him in eFootball, and I'm really pleased we've got him. It's a shame they've changed his playstyle because he was a whole player before, now he's a box-to-box. But if you play him as an attacking midfielder, that playstyle won't be active, and that's a big plus. So he could still play pretty nicely as an attacking midfielder in terms of his positioning and stuff. But looking at the attributes, good on the ball, great passing, decent pace. For a midfielder, it's pretty good pace to be fair. Balance is decent, stamina's good. And have a quick look down at his skills. He's got some dribbly stuff for the people who like their skills and their dribbling. He's got long range drive and through passing in terms of his end product. Gamesmanship can be nice. Track back, not everyone's cup of tea. Fighting spirit helps. Sliding tackle, I'm not sure you're really going to do much slide tackling with him. You can play him as a centre midfielder with that box-to-box play style. I don't think he's strong enough. His defensive attributes, even with an increase of 5 on his defensives there, he's still only got 66 defensive awareness. Physical contact 63. He's a small guy, 167 centimeters. I don't think you're going to want this guy to have too much defensive responsibility. I think he's definitely going to be best used as an attacking midfielder. Could be used as a wide midfielder. Personally, I'm not sure which position I'll use him in the most. I might just do a kind of in-between build and alternate in terms of what position I use him in. Just to touch on the skills for another second, he does have through passing and long range drive. If you get him and you like him and you're going to use him regularly, which I personally expect I will, I think it's well worth trying to get one touch pass on him. You could maybe try to get 1 or 2 more on him, maybe his long range shooting, maybe pinpoint crossing, because you could use him as a right midfielder. Maybe weighted pass, low lofted passes. It might be worth getting a bunch of skills on him just to really beef up his end product. But looking at the attributes, the training points, it's a pretty nice build on auto allocation. But as I mentioned, I don't recommend using him in a way that's going to give him any defensive responsibility. So I think you might as well just get rid of those. That frees up 6 points for a start. I think personally, I would like him to have a little bit more pace. I would like to really focus on his dribbling ability, make him even better on the ball. With his passing being as high as it is, I would take a couple off there. So then Lopes still very good at 88. Again, the game plan boost, that takes that to 90. Now we can give him a bit more dexterity. Oh, how can we get that? I might take even more of his passing, to be honest. What can we do here? We'll do it with the auto allocation's really got the focus on end product. So I'll do a build here that focuses more on how good he is on the ball. Yeah, that's what I'd do. So this would be a wide midfield build. So now we've got a bit more pace. That acceleration at 94, balance at 88 will hit 90 with the game plan boost. dribbling and tight possession will both hit the 90 marking in the game plan boost. Offensive awareness at 80. So, yeah. Auto allocation, I think if you're going to use him as attacking midfielder, is pretty much as good a build as you'll get. But if you're going to use him wide midfield, I reckon this might be a better build. So the passing's not as great, but it's still pretty good. He's going to be lovely on the ball. The balance as well. Good pace. He's going to be nippy and responsive. I've used him before. He always is. Good attacking awareness as well. Keep in mind that height, 167 centimeters. He's got that low center of gravity. He's going to feel really nice on the ball. For me, whether you use him attacking midfield or wide midfield, very nice player. One thing to keep in mind, wide midfield, if you play him left or right midfield, box-to-box play style will be active. So he's going to get up and down the pitch quite a bit. He might track back a bit more than you want him to, especially with the track back skill that he's got down there. Keep that in mind. He does have pretty good stamina though, but yeah, just keep that in mind. He's not going to play as the most attacking winger. He's going to be getting right up and down the pitch. That might be good for you, it might not, but just keep it in mind. But like I say, depending on which position you play him in, the auto allocation, very good attacking midfielder. The way I built him here, I think makes him a really, really nice wide midfielder. I think this is a really nice card. If you're not sure who to use your 5-star contract on and no one's really jumping out, I think you could do a lot worse than picking this guy up. It looks like it's going to be really fun. So, Giménez, our other centre-back. So, whereas Lewis Dunk had one or two obvious flaws, with Giménez, he's just really solid all round, to be honest. On the auto allocation, he looks brilliant defensively. All in the 90s down there. Jumping 91, physical contact 88 is really good. He's not the quickest, but he's not the slowest either. He's got pretty average pace for a centre-back. Looking at the skills, he's basically got the perfect set of skills for a centre-back. He's got the heading and aerial superiority, and then he's got man marking, interception, acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit, blocker, sliding tackle. He's just got everything. He's a thug. He's a destroyer. Got the destroyer playstyle. I've got a version of him from a previous pack. I think it was a Spanish league selection or something like that. Very happy with it. He's a good, strong centre-back. He's just got a bit of everything. You could do, I mean, you could do a lot worse than just going with the auto allocation, to be honest. It works pretty much fine, but if you did want to do something slightly different, I think the one way you could maybe tweak his the way he's been trained is to maybe try and give him a bit more pace. So can we spare a few from the defensive attributes? I think so. We take a few off here. We went right the way down to 7. So we're still just about high enough for the game plan boost to get us 90s across the board down here. Then looking at the physical contact, that will still get to 90. So we've got 14 points now to just boost his pace, basically. Let's see how high we can get it. So we can get up to 78, and then 3 points left. Where's it going to go? 1 on dexterity, stick 1 on dribbling. Yeah, so now you're still going to, in the game plan, with a decent enough manager, you're still going to get 90 plus on all 4 of his core defensive attributes. You're going to get 80 for speed, 73 acceleration. Jumping and physical contact will both be 90 plus. His balance will hit 70. There aren't many strong kind of, like I say, thugs at centre-back. Destroyer playing style, really strong defensively, physically very strong boy. But with balance at 70, that's quite rare. Stamina will be almost 80. So, yeah, you could train in this way. Like I say, the auto allocation, just a really, really good strong centre-back. Just not the quickest. But if you retrain him similar to what I've done here, he'll still be very strong defensively with no real weakness, but he'll hit the 80 mark in your game plan for speed. And for me, I think that's probably the kind of build I put in him. But like I say, I've got a similar version. Very happy with him. If you want another 5-star centre-back, if the destroyer playstyle suits you, yeah, very, very strong centre-back. Could be well worth picking up. And then the last player in the nominating contract pack, Kevin De Bruyne. It's what you would expect from Kevin De Bruyne. There's nothing particularly surprising about this card. He's a creative playmaker. He wants to play attacking midfield. Obviously, you're not going to play him centre midfield. That's a waste. You want him attacking midfield. You want to focus on what he's got, which is end product for days. You look down at the skills, soul control, cut behind and turn, but he's really all about end product. Long range shooting, one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, outside curler, low lofted pass, captaincy as well as a little bonus. He's got all kinds of end product. If you're going to be harsh, you could say maybe he's a little bit on the slower side. You could do with a bit more mobility. If you wanted to really focus on that and try and kind of beef that up a bit, you could take some points away. You could take 4 off passing. You could take maybe 1 or 2 off dribbling. I'll just take 1 off then. At least the ball control still hit 90 in the game plan. Shooting, you could maybe take all 4 of those away. Then what we've got 14 points to play with, so get that up to 8 and that up to 8. And then we've got 2 points left. Stick 1 back on passing, I guess. In fact, I'll take that 1 back off passing, 1 off lower body, and then we got 1 on dexterity and put 1 on shooting. That's what I do, I think. And then we get the balance up to 80. It would already be 80 in the game plan, to be honest, with the boost, even if it was a couple lower. But nice to get to the 80 mark. The acceleration will hit 80 in the game plan. Speed's a bit higher. Great kicking power, good stamina, and he's still tidy on the ball. And the passing is still going to be great. You're going to be 90 for both low and lofted pass with the game plan boost. Offensive awareness very good. Finishing's pretty reasonable, especially with long range shooting down here. At the end of the day, it's Kevin De Bruyne. You know what you're getting from De Bruyne. He's not going to be rapid. He's not going to be brilliant for dribbling past defenders, but he's technically very, very good. Got a fantastic end product. He's got a really good selection of skills. He's obviously a brilliant attacking midfielder. Goes up to 96 maximum, depending how you build him. So I think objectively, this is the best player in the pack. It just depends what type of player you like. Personally, I prefer De La Cruz. I think just the fact that he's nippy, he's a bit more mobile, he's more my kind of player. But yeah, this card is obviously a world-class attacking midfielder, so I think a lot of people are going to go for this guy. Now, that is all the nominating contract ones done. I will now look at the match pass players. There are 2 players available with the match pass. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on the numbers. You've got a value match pass and a premium match pass. So value match pass will cost you 500 coins. Premium match pass will cost you 1,000 coins. If it's the first time you purchased either of these types of match pass, you'll get a 50% discount. So the first time you get a value one, it will only cost you 250. You'll get half price. Likewise, if it's the first time you bought a premium match pass, that will be half price as well. So that'll only cost you 500. The coins you get from the rewards, assuming you play enough matches to get all the rewards from the match pass, you've got 200 coins back on the value one, and you've got 300 back on the premium. So what that means is, on the standard price of 500, in effect, if you play all the matches, you're only going to be paying 300. The premium one, if you play all the matches, you're only going to be paying 700. Obviously, if you get the first time discount, it's even less. So just some numbers for you to chew on there, but ultimately it's going to cost you about 300 for the value one, about 700 for the premium one. And now we'll take a good look at the 2 players that are available in each of the 2 match passes, see which one represents the best value for you. So get rid of that. And we have got first Rafa Silva. So this is our value match pass player, Rafa Silva. So what's interesting is both the players, value and premium, go up to 93. They go up to the same rating overall. So they're objectively, statistically, they're about the same kind of value, which is quite strange. But either way, what you get from Rafa Silva, quite similar to De La Cruz, is that he's a small, pacey, responsive, very good on the ball attacking midfielder. The only real big difference between Rafa Silva and De La Cruz is he's not got the lofted pass so much, and he's got a bit more speed about him, but he's a very similar type of player. Play style is different though, because this guy's a whole player. It's a very popular play style. That will be active if you play him left midfield, right midfield, attacking midfield, or SS. It won't be active as a wide forward, left or right. But even if you play him as a wide forward, left or right, without that play style, he'll still be very effective. He'll play more like a kind of prolific winger. He should take up good positions. He's got good offensive awareness. This is the auto allocation. I don't think I'll be doing a great deal, to be honest. Great on the ball, good offensive awareness, good low pass. He's not got the lofted pass, so his crossing's not be brilliant. Great pace, really good balance. He's not got brilliant stamina. That's something to keep an eye on. So he will get tired, especially as a whole player, and especially if you play him as an attacking midfielder as well. But in any position as a whole player with 75 stamina, he's going to get tired. So something to keep in mind if you start him. Looking at the skills, a bunch of dribbly stuff for the dribblers, knuckle shot and dipping shot if you like that kind of thing. Through passing is the key one. Like with De La Cruz, he's got through passing. That's the key one for an attacking midfielder, for a kind of creative player. But again, doesn't have one-touch pass, doesn't have long-range shooting. I would say he doesn't have pinpoint crossing, but with lofted pass 75, it's not going to make his crossing good enough anyways. So really, one-touch pass, long-range shooting, the 2 that I would probably be looking at getting. Maybe long-range curler as well, if you're going to play him wide on the left especially. Outside curler is a nice one to have. Gamesmanship, we get a few free kicks. But yeah, through passing the key one. So he's got some end product with that low pass in the 80s as well. And he's versatile. You could play him wide left through the centre. I think with his inability to cross, I wouldn't play him on the right-hand side. I don't think that's where he's at his best. But any of the other 4 positions, I think he could be very effective. Like I say, he's very quick. I've got his base card, which is a 4-star. It's really nice. I've used that in against strong squads, and he does well for me. He's a very nice player. Feels really nice. I don't think I'll do a great deal with the way his points are allocated. You could take a couple away from dribbling. Still hit the 90 mark on dribbling there, but we freed up 6 points. Where could we put them? Could put them on pace, to be honest, make them even quicker. Yeah, I'll just do that, to be honest. Give him a bit more speed. Lightning. Very nice player. To be honest, I'm quite surprised he's only in the value match pass. I think it's a really nice card to pick up. So yeah, like I say, in my experience, feels great on the ball. He's a very effective player, especially with a whole player playing style in a bunch of positions. So it could be a really valuable one to pick up. Keep an eye on the stamina, but that's the only real concern, to be honest. And you might want to put 1 or 2 extra skills on him, but very nice player. It's a good card, that. And then the final one. So interesting that they made Rafa Silva the value player, because I think he's really good. And then on the flip side with Bourigeaud here, I'm not saying he's bad, but for the premium match pass, I just don't know. So what we've got is we've got a box to box. You can play centre mid, defensive mid, right midfield. I don't think you're going to play on defensive midfield. He's not great defensively. When you look down at his skills, there's nothing defensively there. So I think defensive midfield is not his position. I'm not even sure if centre midfield is his position. If he's as weak as he is defensively, not just in terms of the attributes, but the lack of skills, I'm not sure centre mid's his position unless you've got 1 or 2 other midfielders in there. Maybe you're playing a 3-man midfield. You've got 2 guys in there doing the defensive work. He could work then as a centre midfielder, certainly. He is good technically. He's not brilliant on the ball, but he's fairly tidy. Obviously, you can see there the biggest strength this guy's got. He's got really good passing, but with 90 lofted pass and pinpoint crossing, he's got a fantastic cross on him. Got one-touch pass, he's got weighted pass, doesn't have through passing. That's a big shame. Long range drive, long range shooting, rising shots. His finishing's only 69, so his shooting's not going to be brilliant, but nice to have those skills just to improve his shooting a bit if he's shooting, especially from range. But yeah, like I say, the big miss for me with his skills, it would be nice if he had the defensive skills to be able to play centre mid, but if you're going to focus on what he's good at, really, it would be nice if he had through passing. So if you get him and if you're going to use him regularly, I would look to get through passing on him. Without through passing, I don't personally think he'd be as effective as you'd want him to be as a centre midfielder. I think you might be looking at him being most effective as a right midfielder and playing as a kind of Beckham type of right mid who's not the quickest necessarily. And he's not going to be dribbling past defenders very often, but he's just got brilliant crossing. With the auto allocation, he could do that role. Like I say, he's not the quickest. That might be a bit of a concern. I would personally start by taking away the defensive points, though, because, like I say, I don't think he's going to be a defensive midfielder for anyone, and I don't think he'd be at his best as a centre midfielder even. So I personally would just take those points right back. That gives us 10. You could take few away from passing. He'll still be very good at crossing and passing, albeit, again, he doesn't have through passing, which is a shame. But if we do that, just to try and get some more mobility on him, stick 4 on dexterity. We've still got 14 points here. Where are we going to put those? I'd like him to be a bit better on the ball, actually. We'll put 2 on dribbling. We'll get 1 more, maybe 1 more dexterity, 1 more low body. And we've got 2 points. Stick him on shooting, get him over the 70 mark. So, as a right midfielder now, good offensive awareness for a right midfielder. He's pretty good on the ball. He's still got good passing, especially crossing. Speed and acceleration both over 80 now. Balance is hit 80. Stamina 87 is pretty decent for a box-to-box. Keep in mind, box-to-box is an active play style as a right midfielder, so he's going to get up and down. Not everyone's cup of tea. Again, if you're going to compare him to Beckham, I'm not suggesting he's as good as Beckham, obviously. But there is a box-to-box Beckham card, which plays as a box-to-box on the right. So that if you've used that card, that'll give you an idea of the way this guy's going to play in terms of his positioning, his movement. But yeah, I think ultimately, if you want this guy to be as effective as he can possibly be, I think as a right midfielder, that is the best way to use him, the most effective way to use him. Focus on his crossing, and as you can see here, you can beef up his ability on the ball and his mobility. But if I'm going to be brutally honest, I think they've got the 2 match pass players the wrong way around. I think Rafa Silva is much better. I think he's much more valuable. If we just go back quickly to the coins, right there. Honestly, you look at the cost of them both. Rafa Silva for me is a more valuable card to pick up than Bourigeaud, and he's half the price. If you're looking at the voting of which one's better value, you're not sure which one to get, I think this is one of the easiest decisions ever. It's got to be Rafa Silva. Unless you really like the look of Bourigeaud, you like a kind of a solid right midfielder, like I say, in that Beckham mold in terms of the style and the kind of his movement and stuff. The fact that he's going to be focusing on his end product with great crossing. That's the kind of player you want. He is a good player. I'm not saying Bourigeaud is not good. I just think if you're going to be paying about 1,000 coins, granted you get 300 back, but even 700 coins, I'm not sure he represents anywhere near as good a value as Rafa Silva does, who's effectively not going to cost you about 300 coins. So it's just my opinion. Like I say, it depends what kind of player you like. If you don't like the smaller players like Rafa Silva, Bourigeaud might be more your cup of tea. But I think for most people, the value match pass is much, much better value than the premium one. So Yeah, there you go. So that concludes that review. I will be doing a review of the Japanese and Brazilian packs. They're both nominating contract packs. We've got a mixture of 3, 4, and 5-star players across those two packs. So I'll be getting that one uploaded over the next few days. I'm hoping over the weekend, maybe Sunday. If not Sunday, then it should be Monday. So I'll be getting that one up. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found that useful. It's helped you to decide where to use some of your 5-star contracts at least. As I say, there are some 5-stars in Brazil, so don't rush into using them just yet if you've got time before they expire. But yeah, hopefully you found all that useful. Thank you for watching as always. Keep your eyes peeled for more videos coming up soon, and I'll catch you next time.